maybe this will help. I don't know. It's very, very sunny all of a sudden. What on earth is that? 20 million emails all come through. Let's find my chat. Let's find my chat. So how are you all? Good, I hope. I didn't know whether to come on as me. Oh, hang on. Don't want to be making any noise, do we? So hi, Jane, Top Tees. Jay, hi. Martin, well, welcome. Yep, I've got my whip at the ready. I don't know whether to go around anymore with the white. We'll have a little look. I couldn't find my hook. I've got a feeling it might be in the bottom. It is. And so is, I've been looking for these scissors. Darling needle, they're all in there. There we go, look, see? All my stuff shoved in the bottom there. Okay, so we put that down on the floor because that's going to be what my yarn ball disappears into. So here we go. This is what it looks like, and that's the border. Trying to toy with the idea if I need another white row. Let's have a little look. See what I think. Now, does this white? Yep, matches perfectly. I don't probably got enough. Whoa, stay there. Probably got enough with these odd bits to go around, but that does seem a little whiter. I'm kind of not sure what white I used to edge it, but that looks, it shouldn't look identical, but it is. Oh well, we'll go around one more row with this then. One more white row, and then I'm going to edge it in this one because that's the yarn that I used to make it. So I'm going to go around the whole outside in that. If I can get this yarn to actually unwind. So how are you all? I see I've got some more people coming. I'm going to have to say hello. Let's just get a bit of yarn out. So who we got? Wow, we got Betty and Trudy and Kim. Don't forget the thummies, everybody, if you haven't already thummied. Now, I want a 4.5, which I have 2 of. No, hang on. Yep, they are. I think I used the red. Red seemed to be my favourite. I don't need a pen, so we'll put it over there. Or stitch markers. I've got my little scissors at the handy, at the ready. Right, just join to a corner. So how are you? What have you been up to? I've got a call this afternoon. I was going to make another video this afternoon. I'd already done my chat, and I had one filmed already for the book review, and I was going to do another one and have the book review come out on a different day. But while I was out, Gary was cementing his paving stones and everything else, and I had a meeting, and while I was there, after I came out, I had a call from the school, and they said Sophia wasn't well, so I had to go and get her. And so I thought, oh well, can't really film when you've got a sick child hanging around, so I just used the one that I already had filmed, and did that. Seems very bright in here. I don't know if that's going to make any difference. Probably not. So anyway, never mind. At least I can see. It's always a bonus being able to see. So how are you? What have you been up to? Have you been good? Hi, Donna. Sitting down on your break. Well, that's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. What do you do? What's your job? I think that's just perfect now. If I do this extra one round, it's I'll show you. It kind of transforms it a little bit, doesn't it? That one extra round. Yeah. And then we'll have the colour on top. It would bring it together then. So yeah, been a hectic few days, because I don't know if you've been watching over there on my other channel, Rocksteady, but I've had a bit of a surprise diagnosis, and I've been cataloguing my my journey with it. I have actinic keratosis, and it's not going to get particularly attractive when the cream starts to kick in and do its stuff. And unfortunately, it is right on my nose, so I can't hide it. So I figured I might as well raise awareness, do some videos, and we'll see that from start to finish the whole process. So it's not a cancer, but it can lead to it if untreated. So, you know, I'm kind of hoping I'm doing it all right, and, you know, just showing the process. Well, there are people who think that's brave of me, but on the other hand, I don't feel very brave, to be honest with you. Been painting your house. I need to do that. I seriously do. Especially the bathroom. I even bought the paint for it. But the thing that puts me off of getting started on it is I know I'll struggle with the ceiling. And I said to Gary, if you paint the ceiling, I'll do the rest. But I know ceilings are the one thing he hates to do. And he says, oh, you know, it'll have to wait until after I've done this, because he's got lots of DIY on the go. So unless I actually bite the bullet and get a way of doing, it's only a tiny room, if I can get that ceiling done, then I can do the walls, and it would just kind of brighten it up a little bit, you know, make it look a little cleaner, because we need a new bathroom really, but that's not going to happen for a while, so at least it'll make it nicer in the meantime. It is a big undertaking. Hi Melanie J. One of your boys paints your ceiling. Can you send him round? That'd be really nice. Yeah, it is hard. I did toy with the idea and of whether that was a good idea to put it on or not. But, and the weirdest thing, you know, is there's going to come a time when I won't want to be in front of the camera on the Crochet Rocks channel. But I will be in front of the camera on those videos on Rocksteady, because that's the whole point. But the way I look at it is those people that watch that video want to see that. And so I don't really kind of mind showing it, because that's what you're meant to be doing. But when it comes to sitting there doing a giveaway or something like that, I'll probably be turning the camera away from me, unless I find I can disguise it, you know, with makeup or whatever, and it's not as bad as I think. But I believe it will be, because it's starting to get, at times it's starting to get a little sore now, and you know, it's not even really there yet. I've seen some kind of estimates that it would be like a month of using it before you kind of get the results, so we'll see. 7 to paint. Whoa. I've got the bathroom, and well, there's lots of rooms really that we need to paint. We've done the kitchen. We did do the bathroom first, but of course that was a while ago, and it needs doing again. And I think, you know, there's, especially where we used to have a bit of an area where Fluffy liked to go in there and sit, and she made the wall yellow. I don't know why, but she did, and just leaning up against it sent the wall a bit yellow. There'd be oils in her fur, perhaps, I don't know, but it's not very nice. And she always sat on the same kind of worktop in there. It's a cabinet that you put towels in, and she would always sit on that same, and she would sort of kind of hug up to the wall, so she did discolour the wall a little bit. I suppose she liked to sit there because it was right next to the water heater, so it was the warmest part of the house, plus in the centre of the house, so no windows, no wind noises or anything like that. Just, but she felt safe and warm there, so that was a spot for a while. I need to keep an eye on my phones because I don't think either of them are very charged. Checking. So I'll be glad when this is finished, although I've just added another round to it. But that's because I want it to be nice, you know. And I suppose I could have got away with the 2 rounds, but at the same time, I want it to look better. Whoops. I left a loop on the hook. You know, when instead of going through 3, it went through just 2. Nearly carried on. Oh, there. Pull more yarn out. So you can't see the difference in that yarn at all. It's just, it doesn't have any kind of really good colour match. You know, if you really wanted to do that, you were looking at all your whites to see if you had identical colours. You would never find it, would you? But there is absolutely nothing there at all. No difference in colour. And yet I know they were different yarns because one was a 50-gram ball and one was a 100-gram ball. So the chances of them being the same colour are pretty remote, but that is actually a pretty good match. I think the 50-gram ball might have been the wrong one. This is the yarn I've been using all through, but I managed to pick up the wrong one. Luckily, identical. Gary's on his way in. He was sitting in the garden. So what are you guys all working on? Anything? Just got to move this. It's when they get big, they are kind of a mission to kind of move. But this has only been a WIP for the last 4 years or so. Probably longer. I would say longer because I made it for Tyler and he's 5 soon. You believe it? And I'm making him the creeper blanket, so I need to get stuck into that as well so that it's finished for his birthday. That's July. So, but I do need to do it because I need to get part 2 of the tutorial done. So at least when I don't want to have my face on camera, I can get stuck into those kind of things and, you know, work on other stuff and do some swatches and lots of videos I can work on other than showing my mush. So Gary's been working really hard today. He is completely laid a patio and done lots of cementing and all that sort of thing. And he just always overdoes it. He always does. He pushes himself and pushes himself, and then afterwards he'll sit there in aches and pains. But tomorrow he's got an easier day, but he said he's going to tidy up because in front of the yarn van there's lots and lots of stuff. I said to him the other day, if I wanted to film out there, I can't film the garden. I can't film because that just looks like a complete tip, because everything in front of the caravan was just put on the path because there wasn't anywhere to put it. But he has the previous area that he concreted was the base for a shed later on. He can put it all on there, so it's out of the way. And obviously when there's a shed, that's where it'll be, inside the shed. So it would just be sitting there waiting for its shell, really. So I noticed that I did see a little thing that Granny D wasn't too well, so she won't be doing her live stream. I was hoping to pop in and see her actually, because recently we had no internet at all, so I wasn't able to get into live streams, or well, I wasn't able to do much at all. I think Gary now is thinking, I'll wash up and I'll try and be quiet. Doesn't always work. Hey, thank you. Don't forget the thummies. My little oops, hang on. I've got a, oh, hang on. Maybe I can get, that's it. I had a big list of emojis getting in the way. That's what you do, overdo it and then hurt like hell. Yep, that's exactly what Gary does. 5.5 acres of grass. Oh my goodness. Oh bless. I said to Gary though, the more of the garden that he cuts back on with all of these like little areas like patio and seating areas and things like that, and the shed base, now you don't have to worry about that gardening because you know you've used that area for something else. So the more you cut down on the grass, the easier that aspect is. But you know, we don't have that bigger garden in the first place. And a little while ago, he said, "Oh, you know, I think like next door have a much bigger garden than us." And I said, "We don't. It's just that we've got that big yarn van on it, and his brother's got an electrical shed. Where it's full of his electrical stuff because he's an electrician. So he's got a shed. We've got two big raised flower beds, plus a huge, like, quite deep flower border all the way around, a great big decking, a base for another shed, and this patio at the end, the seating area." I said, "So I don't think it is if you look at it. It's just that we've kind of, it's not just a big open space anymore. It's got all these things in there, but there's still space to be had, even though we've got all that." Whoa, nearly cut myself off then. Sylvia, hello. Dear, oh dear, going a bit croaky. It is a lot with a push mower. We used to have a push mower. The boy's dad, he always loved his push mower. Thankfully, the garden wasn't that big, but he swore by it. He didn't want. He had all these fly mows and all that stuff. He hated them, but somebody gave him an old push mower, and that was it. He was, you know, "Oh no, I'd just rather have this," and used to get it sharpened, and always had the push mower. Getting there, guys. Getting there. I could have had it finished today if I hadn't decided to add more to the border. But, you know, I think it needs it. Every time I pull the yarn out, have you noticed, I get it up my nose. I get a fibre nose. It's getting hot in here. As the song goes, I won't be taking off all my clothes though. You'll be glad to know. Just put the fan on instead. Whew. That's better. It's not too noisy. I brought in some Coke today, that bottle there. I haven't got a can. It's got my my one piece of merch on it. So if I ever get stuck, I always think, "Oh, I haven't got any drinks in here," but I forget that there's a can of drink there with my little cozy on it. But I brought the bottle in. I thought, shall I make tea or, you know, bring in a glass of drink? And I thought I'll only probably knock it over or something. So just bring the bottle, it's easier. It's been quite a thirsty day, really. Very, very dry. And we had a couple of things go by the house earlier, like there was a van and the dust trail, because he drove like a lunatic. The dust trail went over the house and Gary had the dust hit him at the back of the garden. It's just ridiculous. You know, there are days when I chase after people and have a bit of a moan at them, but I couldn't be bothered today. But we have had a few lorries today. I thought they seemed like they weren't really coming back after the weekend, but there's not many, but we have got some. And I saw the guy who used to be in charge of it all as I was going to my meeting earlier and leaving the area. He was driving in and I felt like he wanted me to wind the window down and stop and talk to him and to tell me something, but there were cars behind me, so I couldn't really do that. And I thought, well, maybe it might have been my imagination, but I just feel like he was going to say something. Oh well, knows where I live if he wants to tell me anything or ask me anything. Wow, so hot. The rest of the house is freezing, got the aircon on, but it doesn't reach this room unless I leave that door open. There we go, I've turned my first corner. Getting there. I've got to do the little turning it trick. Wow. It's nowhere near as big as the one that I did for Gary, so not as hard as that. Again, as soon as I do that, the fibres go straight up my nose. Wow. So I've made dinner, but Gary doesn't want it till much later. So it's out on there on the side, ready to sort of go and be browned off in the oven. So I've made a shepherd's pie today. Wasn't going to, but we were going to have... keep going really dry. We were going to have it the other day. Got the meat out and we didn't have it. So I thought, well, now I've got to cook it. So I cooked the mince and I put the in the fridge. So all I had to do was finish it off today. It's been hanging around for a while, but you know, not that it'll be off or anything. It'll be fine. Just took a few days to make it. Why do I keep going dry? And I think I'm having a bit of an issue at the moment with my eyes as well and the twitching because they're dry. Been a lot of dryness. Got dry skin on my hands. Maybe I need to start drinking aloe vera or something. Does that actually work? Does anybody know? There is be going on low carb soon. Hopefully that'll sort out me everything. Sort out everything. Have I missed anything? You're making a fairy garden. Oh, that sounds nice. My blanket's really pretty. It is, isn't it? I love this yarn. It's it was Poundland yarn, but it's just beautiful and it really comes up lovely. Whatever I've made with it, I absolutely love. And it's, for the longest time, it was my favourite yarn from Poundland, but I have masses of it. I put some, got fibre. I put some in my shop and I sold it all. And it was in the yarn bundles for people across the pond. So I put some more in. I do like get a little bit, I don't like to part with it, but I do have a lot. I have a whole pack and more besides. And so I thought, well, I can put up another yarn bundle or maybe even two. So I did put some back in the shop. And it always sells out, that one. It's just gorgeous. It's so pretty. Every colour in it. They made a similar one in another one of their high street stores, but it was slightly different. It had more kind of pinky red and blue, and it wasn't the same. This one's just got lovely colour scheme. It's really, really lovely. I try not to say colourway because I hate that term. I don't know why. One good thing about this blanket, I worked the tails in as I went, so there's very few. And now and again you see one in the centre of the square or something, but and the fact that it's just self-striping yarn, there wasn't that many joins, and so I don't really have a great deal of ends. And if I've changed any yarn, I've tended to work them in because I have cunning little ways to work my ends in so that they it doesn't matter what I'm making, I'll always find a way of working that end in, even if it's just very loopy stuff. I still do it. I'm quite canny when it comes to working in the ends because I hate sewing them. Although, I mean, you know, sometimes we have them and that's fine, but if I can get away with working them in, then that's what I do. This is falling off my lap today, and that's because I have bare legs. I have shorts on, so it's just sliding off my lap. It's driving me a bit crazy. But normally I will have kind of something on my legs and it doesn't have that slippage, you know. It kind of has a bit of traction, if you like. Oh, so yeah, I don't really relish this kind of next few weeks with putting on this treatment, and still a bit annoyed about getting it in the first place. But, you know, these things come along, don't they? Isn't it weird how you get to a certain point in your life, a certain age, and then it's like a switch gets flipped, and suddenly all these things start bombarding you with these little niggly things after another. It's just, whoa, you know. They should give us a pill that keeps us renewing our bodies. And I know they won't like everybody to live forever, but, you know, it surely would be cheaper to give us a pill that prolongs our renewability than keep putting around all our ailments. Maybe. Anyway, picked Sophia up from school. They said that she was really, really upset and crying inconsolably. And she was sitting outside with a sick bucket. And she hadn't been sick, but she felt it. And she was very, very upset. And she hadn't eaten anything. So I picked her up, put her in the car, started talking to her. And she was chatting away to me. And she said, I'm hungry. So, yeah. Miraculous recovery. I said, oh, has anybody been bullying you? And she said no. I said, even if someone tells you not to say, you know, you always must say, because they only say that because they're scared of getting found out. I said, so especially if someone says don't tell, or threatens don't tell, or else this will happen or that'll happen, then you definitely tell. So, you know, tried to get it out of her as to why she didn't want to be there, but she was happy as Larry when she got in the car. Still, I was worse. I knew how to get out of it if I wanted to. Bless. Hi, Lawley. I'm working on, you got push mower. I'm working on the willow square blanket. You remember this one? With the Poundland yarn, the really, really pretty one. My favourite yarn from Poundland. Well, I did this tutorial probably about 4.5 years ago. And I was making this one, but it was going to be big. And so for the tutorial, I made a small one for Tyler for when he was a newborn. And so I don't even think he'd been born when I gave it to her. And it's his favourite blanket that he drags about with him. Obviously it's blue and sort of a mauvey colour. And he loves it. It's falling apart. But I never did get round to finishing this one. Like everything, you know, we all have whips that we leave and they become a bit of a UFO, but when you've got a YouTube channel and you're always kind of thinking of the next thing that you can make and do a tutorial for, it's even harder to finish your whips. So when I did finishing Gary's blanket live streams, I just thought, you know, I've got other whips that are just sitting there and I'm not doing them. But if I did a live stream, I could get them finished. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just working on the willow square. It's nearly done. I've only got to get round this one, and then I'm going to border it with the same yarn that I've made the blanket with. And then it'll all be done. It'll be looking for another whip to get rid of. Okay, for some reason I can't remember which yarns are high street ones or the other bundle ones. If you could ever put a list of which are included in each category somewhere, you'd appreciate it. Hello Susan, welcome, don't forget the thumbie. Is anyone else streaming? Why, you're bored? You're bored? I think I did notice while I was I set it all up, and then I was looking for a hook, couldn't find a hook anywhere. and I think I noticed Kerry was. So I think I'm clashing a little bit with Kerry, um, sadly. But you always end up clashing with somebody because there's always someone going to go on, and I just try and do weird times, I suppose, that fit in with Gary's sunbathing now, drinking a few beers at the end of doing all his work. So I don't want to sit in the sun, not with this problem. It's kind of really put me off of sitting in the sun, as you can imagine. And if I do go out there a bit later, I'll put the brolly up, you know, the parasol, and I'll make sure I'm completely in the shade. And I'll slather on factor 25,000 just to make sure. But the actual mystery box that I've got that's called High Street Mystery Box, you will find that in there will be a mixture of all of the yarns from kind of Poundland and this place, which is B&M. So they've got, you know, their yarns, and there'll be all of the ones like Wilco, Home Bargains, Hobbycraft, all of the places that I can go to the high street and buy yarn, and that I have done bought yarn from. And that is, I mean, there could even be some things like King Cole in there, because, or James C. Brett, because you can get them sometimes in the high street. So it's whatever there'll be in the high street. High street yarns are different from ones that I have to go and get online. And I suppose in a way, Hobbycraft are a different kettle of fish. You know, they're kind of expensive, whereas places like Aldi, B&M, all the places that are in the high street that do yarns that you've seen over the years. So there's Poundland, Aldi, Wilkinson, or Wilco, they call themselves now. There's Home Bargains, those Spots and Stripes. When I first started my website, I said to Chris, is there an area where I can get people to write a bit of, not feedback, but if someone clicked on a mystery box, they could say, I'm allergic to wool, can you please make it all acrylic? Or they could say, you know, can you please try to make as much Poundland as possible, things like that. But there wasn't a way, unfortunately, to put it in the checkout. The kind of comment sections wouldn't work. Tried all sorts of things, but there wasn't anything we could do. Reached another corner. Woohoo! So yeah, so I just kind of put it in. But the normal mystery boxes, they're not going to have that in. They have things, you know, like the more branded yarns that everybody knows. Whereas the combined high street one, I did that because I used to sell, when I first started, people would buy a Poundland mystery box and an Aldi mystery box and then another mystery box, and I'd have a parcel that I couldn't afford to ship because it was so expensive. And a couple of people said, oh, shrink, you know, they ordered them. I don't mind if you shrink them down. So I did that to be able to send them, but I didn't like doing it. So I figured that maybe if there was one box that was combined of all, then they wouldn't need to order all those different boxes. They could just get one and get bits of each. And that way it would save people spending and saving up, because and the shipping would be a lot less. So that's what I did. I kind of made one that was, oh, these fibres. I thought it was just Gary's blanket that was going to do that to me, but it seems that it's not. What have I missed? Let's go back. The computer's been acting up. What square is this? It is my willow square. It's like everybody else's, but different. I kind of did mine in a different way. So it's not massive holes, but it's still a willow square. I did it as a crochet along when I first one of my first kind of crochet alongs, I think. In fact, it probably is. It was quite a while ago, but it's still one of the most popular ones. And I did it in two parts so that you could refer to the centre bit, and then you could refer to that bit around where it becomes the square, because that's kind of the tricky bit. But so if you wanted to, you could watch just the middle or just this outer part. So obviously middle is part 1 and the one round it is part 2. So that's what it is. Gemma could have popped over. You could have popped over. Yeah, so I'm working on the willow. Want to make another one with just a few colours. I had over $30 in yours, so you know just which colours you want. Lorley, what's that? Hello? Yes, I am there. I am there, Lorley. Fear not. Thank you, Donna. Thanks for coming. Lorley, I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? It's annoying when your computer plays up. Sunsense is brilliant. Sun lotion. You get it a roll-on one. On prescription from the dermatologist. You get a pump one. Oh, wow. Oh, I think it would. I think it would look lovely, the underwater rainbow. Or can you imagine? Maybe I'll have to test that out. Oh, that would. Because, you know, this yarn is an absolute star. You know, it's stunning. It's a star. And it does. Whatever I've made with it just looks fantastic. Whether it's a pair of fingerless gloves in kind of little stitches, or whether I did a star stitch when I was doing that star stitch kind of tutorial, and whatever I do with it, it always looks absolutely gorgeous. It's just such a versatile yarn. Beautiful. Hey, you see me, that's cool. How many squares? Well, I've got 6 by 7, I think. Let's count them. I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 by 7. They are quite a size. Then they're quite a big square. So I could have done it bigger. I had intended to do it bigger. I was going to do it so that it went on the whole of the back of the sofa, that, you know, when we were cold we could put it over us both, sort of thing. But then I ended up making that gigantic one for Gary, and so I thought, well, I don't really need another one of the same sort of size, so this is perfect. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep it kind of in here to go over my legs when I'm cold, sort of out in the yarn van, and maybe when I'm cold on the decking, if I'm sitting on my egg chair, I can put it over my legs, or I put it over me in the yarn van. I don't know whether I'll put it in the car. I might just have to make another one, maybe with the underwater rainbow. That would just be gorgeous. You got 6 balls. How big a blanket do you think you would get with the willow square, but with 6 balls? I don't know. I think it'd go quite a long way. I cannot remember. These were 50-gram balls. These. I can't remember how many balls. I think from a 50-gram ball, I did get a fair few squares. So I think you'll be fine. You should get quite a large blanket with that. What would you edge it with? Because, or would you just edge it with the same, or maybe get a you know, a solid colour, that's what I'm trying to think of, just to edge it. Look beautiful. I love the underwater rainbow. It's one of my favourite yarns. I cannot believe they discontinued it. I'm still in a bit of shock about the fact that they've discontinued it. But one thing I'll say about my willow square, when you work on it, and I do say it in the tutorial, I make this centre part, like I said, with part 1, and then the next part is making the square. And because I use very few chain, it will cut round on itself, look like the worst hat in the world. So it really is tight, and it does look like it's not going to work out. But once you start working in it, it pulls it flat, just like that. Each square, you don't have to like manipulate. It's just putting those stitches in, pulls that completely out. So don't worry about that when you're working on it. That's why mine isn't quite as holy as everybody else's, because I figured, you know what, you don't need all these chains. And so I sort of took them out. I like mine a lot better because of that. I'm not one for massive, big, gaping holes. I really don't like it. You still see the shape and the holes, but they're not gaping. You know, putting too many chains just means they go very loopy. We don't need it loopy. I was thinking of solid black. Yeah, that'll look nice. Love the look of the stained glass. Or the dragonfly, that's gorgeous. I feel quite sad that I won't be able to get any more of it. I feel like I need to go take it all out of my shop so that it's mine. I must make sure I've got a little stash of the ones that I really, really need to keep. But even the one that's just kind of black and grey and, you know, monotone sort of thing, that's lovely. That would make an absolutely really gorgeous kind of stylish poncho or something, you know, maybe a top. It would look really nice in those colours. And I can't believe it won't be around anymore. And they sell, you know, we've had it going for many, many years, and we don't sell as much of it as we used to. But sorry, but I find it's one of the best sellers. So maybe it's just the way people market it, you know. Perhaps they don't market it well enough. I don't know. But it is stunning. All these fibres. Right up my nose. I think Gary is watering something. And I'll tell you what, I definitely need my car watered. My car is just... I took it through a car wash the other day while we were out. And it wasn't pristine because above our driveway we've got overhanging cables. And we get birds and pigeons up there, and they do like to poop on a car. And of course that bakes on in the sun and it's hard to get off. So I looked at it the other day and I thought, oh, it's really dusty with the road and it's full of poop, so I'll go in a car wash. So I did, and it was clean, because I soaked a little bit of water on the bonnet, well, as you call it across the pond, the hood, and so it did come off. And then I went out today and I looked at my car and I thought, I'm really ashamed of that. You know, everybody else's in the car park was like normal, but mine was this dusty, poopy mess. And I just can't keep up with it, because the road is a dust bowl at the moment, and it doesn't even have to be a lorry or a van, even a car. Actually, if you just watch it, the wind kicks up dust devils all the time. It's really, really bad because the top layer of road surface has completely gone, and it's just left this like loose, dusty kind of mess. I mean, in the winter it's mud, and in the summer it's just complete dust. Can't keep up with it, so I'm going to buy a jet washer and give it a blast off now and then. It's the only way I can do it, really. Not a huge granny square fan. I like grannies, but I don't make big holes in my grannies. I don't do chains. I only do one chain in the corner, and I don't do any chains anywhere else. Hi Charlie, welcome. You're going to be lurking, cooking brekkie. Hi Gloria. I know, poor little Sophia, but she was fine, you know. I think she was definitely fine. She ate a cake. She said to me, I'm hungry, and I bought her a brownie and she ate that. She was fine. She went outside, watched Grandad doing his stuff. Yeah, she was fine. You're making a red, white and blue. You're making a red. I'm making a red, white and blue using 4 big granny squares. Oh, okay. First Twist and Shout, then Cabaret. I know. Twist and Shout, Cabaret, and Northern Lights. Crazy, isn't it? It seems to me, oh, they like this one. Let's get rid of it. Let's just kick it to the touch. I know, mad, isn't it? Just really pretty, glitty yarns. They're lovely. Hi, Trudy. A cat stood on the phone. Oh, do you know, once I was working on my laptop, and it was when I was at uni, and I was a mature student. Don't think it was like that long ago, but it was a while back. My cat just wanted some attention, so she just walked across it, and all of a sudden, the taskbar was at the top, and it was upside down, and I thought, oh, I tried everything I could, but her paws just pressed the right combination of buttons, and it off it went. Took me ages, and I finally figured it out, and obviously instantly put it right and forgot about how to do it. A little while later, it happened again, and I thought, oh no, we should have written it down. Stupid. But yeah, she just walked across the keyboard, and I thought, oh God, just walk back the other way and put it right. But it didn't work, obviously. I'm sorry my voice keeps going all weird, but for some reason I am suffering with the dryness in my throat, and I'm not ill, I'm not coming down with anything. It's been like it for ages. Just really, really dry. Dry eyes, dry throat. Drying up, that's what it is. You have to do that with grannies from now on, without all the chains. Oh yeah, I never do a chain. If you watch my grannies, I've got several. I did one on a really basic one for learners, but I've done loads, and they're all seamless, so you can't see a join. I never turn them, never. I hate the back of crochet, and I never turn my work, and I never get twisting. You're looking for colour changing glitter yarn, yeah. I still have lots. Colour changing glitter yarns. In fact, the Cabaret, I've got some beautiful ones. There's that Golden Sunset. I'm really into that one at the moment. That's just beautiful. Of course, I'll always love Midnight Hours and Underwater Rainbow, but that one. Oh, and don't forget Ocean. That's just amazing. It really is. But the only glittery one I've liked recently is not colour changing, but it's the Stylecraft one I got the other week, and I did a video for. I can't remember what it's called, but that glitz is beautiful, because the glitz is the multicolour. It's just really lovely. I want to make something with that. Thought I had a ball of it in here actually that they'd sent me as a sample, but don't know. I mean, I do like the boho spirit, because those are those colour changes without the glitz. So if you don't want the glitz, you've still got those gorgeous colour changes. But I like to have a little bit of glitz in it now and then. But one good thing is I've got quite a bit of, it might be up here actually, might just be out of shot, but I've got quite a bit of Twist and Shout. And I have more than quite a bit of Cabaret. More than. But I hope they will, someone will bring out a new one, because it's beautiful. Oh, it must be nearly round. Gary's off for a bath by the sound of it. He does need it though. He's been out with cement. And I looked at him a little while ago, and he had big blobs of it all over his face. So I thought, oh, there's more on you than there is on the garden. No, not quite. He's done very well today. Cats. I know. You have 3 cats, and they just love to jump on the couch right onto your keyboard. I know. But this one just walked across. It's like, you will take notice of me and feed me and stop doing that. But honestly, straight up the top, I couldn't figure it out. Have to stock up from me before it's not available, definitely. What's TMI? Thank you, whatever it is, but I'm really rubbish at these sort of abbreviations. So yesterday, Victoria told me that when I did my video about putting, you know, my actinic keratosis journey, and I showed the cream, and it's called Effudix. So the subtitles came up as a few dicks. So that was very good, very good. But yeah, fancy calling it a few dicks. But that's the name of the cream. I can't help it. That's what it's called. But the subtitles had a field day with it. It's just, you know, had to be, didn't it? Had to do it. Too much information with Gary's bath. Well, I thought you'd be able to hear it. He sloshes about like you wouldn't believe. He's never quiet. One thing he does is he goes underwater and he comes up going, and he makes such a racket in the bath. He really does. He does noisy about whatever he does is noisy, but the bath, you know, it's a wonder the room isn't full of water. I think there'd be more in the on the floor than there would be in the bath, but he is loves a bath. Does our Gary? And he keeps saying, "Oh, well, perhaps we do away with the bath and just go for like a nice walk-in shower." I said, well, you're the one who loves the bath. You know, we have bath bombs and bath melts and all that stuff. He spends seriously an hour and a half in there. He has it absolutely scalding, and he tops it up with his big toe. He just turns the tap with his big toe and he stays in there. And when he gets out, it's still as scalding as when he got in. Just keeps topping it up. He doesn't have it very deep, but he just scalds. You know, it's like he gets out and he's completely crimson on his back and the back of his legs. It's just really hot. I don't know how I couldn't cope with it. I like a nice warm bath, not scald. It's like he's a big kid. It is. Hi, Kim. Why won't your printer work? Oh, they're pain in the butt. That's why. I have fun with every printer that I have. This one's been about the best one. But what really annoys me now is that, you know, in the old days, if a printer was getting low on black, it'd still print out. It would pull from the other colours, and you'd start thinking, oh, I really do need to get new ink soon. But now, if one of the colours is out, the whole thing won't work. It's just ridiculous. It's like, oh, you know, because you need some obscure colour, I'm not going to print this black document. It doesn't make no sense, really, does it? Even if you click black and white only, it won't work because there's no cyan or magenta. Ridiculous. But it's such a racket, isn't it, printer ink? They say it's actually more expensive than rocket fuel or gold. More expensive probably than platinum. Which is quite pathetic when you think about it. Just toner. They are a pain in the butt. But this one's been the best one I've had so far. I used to have, when the kids were little, I used to have one that was print photographs. And they were never great. You know, they'd fade anyway. I've still got some of those photos that I printed out myself. And the colours are extremely iffy these days. But, yeah. There's no kind of substitute for getting them done properly. They just don't last. They go wishy-washy and mauve. All sorts of weird colours. I suppose it was good fun at the time. If not mega expensive for the ink and the paper, which never worked properly in the first place, and you wasted more trying to get it to work than you ever saved from taking your pictures in. Just All the fads we've had over the years. Crazy, isn't it? Well, I suppose I might even get this blanket done, really. If Gary's going to spend an age in the bath, I might as well carry on until I have to do the dinner. Well, all I've got to do is put it in the oven, as it's all made. Getting there. Nearly done. As soon as I bring it up, I'll start with the fibres. Madness. Right. You don't use them often enough, and the ink dries up. Same here. So you go to the library for 20 cents a page. I have a generic ink cartridge, fits this one, which is brilliant because it's a Canon, and they're, you know, you get the proper ink cartridges and they cost a fortune. But I get my ink from a company called Stinky Ink Company, and they do bombard me with emails like you know, like 20% off, and it runs out on this date, and so on the countdown to it I get it periodically. Don't forget, it runs out soon. I think, yeah, but my ink hasn't run out, so why do I care? I'll get it next time, you know. And then but yeah, Stinky Ink, and they're pretty reasonable for generic ink. And you have, even though most of them now have got these little traps in so that you have to read the barcode, otherwise it doesn't like the ink, these ones seem to work really well, so I don't have any of that malarkey, and it works all right. So, but yeah, they do dry up if you don't use them. They do dry up a bit. I'm standing on my yarn again, standing on it again. I'm thinking I need to pull the yarn out, but if I just didn't stand on it. Okay, I've got a bit of an issue with I've got a plug in, so I'll try not to mess this up. It should be this one. Right, I'm going to take my hook out, so I'll drop that on the floor. Bear with me a second, guys. I'll get it in there. There we are. Right, we're in. This one, am I going to go off? Not yet. Although I have to keep an eye on it because I've not got that great a signal. But yeah, plugged in. Oh, don't want to see the mess. Good grief. It's actually only a pencil case. Look, it's I had this for work a long while ago. It's a bunny. Is it a bunny? Yeah, bunny. Of course it is. Cats don't have ears like that. But I always used to think the face looked like a cat, even though it was a bunny. The stupid thing is, I don't even know what's in it. I know it's a pencil case, but it could have anything in there. Probably pens that haven't been used and have dried up, along with my printer ink. Because I never open it to see. And I'm always looking for a pen. That's stupid. I'm always looking for a pen. I've got a pencil case right there. I'm getting really hot with this blanket on my lap now. It's so warm. It's been really hot today. I don't know what the temperature's been, but wow. It has been extremely hot. I have to say, for once, I've done a really good border on this blanket. You know, sometimes when you get to the bit where you've got a join, it can dip like that. And there are times when you get one stitch too many when you're picking them up along the edge. But I seem to have done every bit dead right. I'm going to get the fibres up my nose again now. I'm in shock. It's like a professional job. Seriously. Must be like a fluke. Wow. I hate to buy ink. You want to find a printer that you can refill cheaply. That one's not so bad. I don't know what it's called, but it is a Canon. And it's ever so easy to work, and it's a little scanner. So they call them like scanner and photocopier sort of thing. I've never been able to use everything on it. But it kind of does work with the whole network thing. So you can get things to print out from your phone or tablet or the computer, and it all works quite well. When I moved and I brought it here, it went into a bit of a sulk, and I couldn't get it to work again. And it was so long since I'd set it up the first time. I couldn't remember what I was doing, and It was really annoying, like especially when I had a new computer. But once it's in, it's relatively trouble free, which I need, because I hate when technology doesn't work properly. Makes There's nothing on this planet that will make you feel as stupid as technology. And yet it's actually the technology and the people that haven't programmed it properly that's stupid. But it can make you feel like a complete and utter dunce and, you know, dim and past it and all that. When really it's just not user friendly, so it's not you at all. Thank you very much, Kim. You saw somewhere that they're starting to make a refillable cartridge with syringes or something. Whoa. That one, it's quite cheap, actually. Stinky ink. It's not too bad. So I don't really... Whereas I used to go in the PC World, Currys, whatever they want to call it these days, and it would be like 50 quid a pop, 40 odd quid a pop to get my inks, and then it went up to 60 something for a pack of all of them, and then you could get a pack that only had half in. They had two sizes because they knew they were getting ridiculous prices. That was awful. But this one I can just get 20 quid's worth of new cartridges, and they last me long enough. I can't say they really dry up that quick, and I can't remember the last time I changed the ink. And I've got more in the drawer from the last lot that I sent off for. I don't think it was that long ago actually that I changed the ink. Probably I saved. It's probably about 6 months. That's quite a long while ago. But it ain't bad. Been a good printer. It'll probably break down now I said that. That always happens, doesn't it? When you say, "Oh, this car, honestly, it's never run so well." And the next week it's got some kind of terminal problem that, it needs to go to the scrapyard and you've got to buy a new car. That always happens. I had this really lovely car. This car's never been so good. That was the end of the car. Totally gone. It was like its last hurrah. Crazy. It's a wonder this one doesn't die, to be honest with you. It's choked with dust. Must be in everything. But I'm so glad we've got the aircon, because we can't open the windows and doors with it. When we first moved in and we had the hot summers, and the dust would just fly through the house. You could dust the living room, and then you go like that and you just got brown kind of dust from the road on every surface and TV. Don't have it now. But when we changed the filters in the aircon, the ones out the back of the house from the bedrooms are relatively kind of clean. And we changed the one in the living room and it's brown from all the road. And yet we've got no windows or doors open. But it still, comes in somehow. I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost round. Your Canon photo printer is awesome. Can you scan with that Canon? Yes, Kim. I like a scanner. I mean, I don't think I've been without one since the 80s now. But they're great. Although these days, I used to have them. Say if someone says, "Oh, can you send a copy of your ID?" and you can scan it. But now you can just take a photograph, can't you? Post it through an email or something. Technology's just moved on, so I don't really need it that often. It's good for if you want to copy a pattern or something. But nearly there. Look, I got that far, and then I can change the colour. So excited. So yeah, what are you all working on though? Have you got anything great on the go? I want to make a wearable. It's getting round to it though. Oh, does it really irritate my nose? I've been making lots of swatches, from a few yarns. There's a couple of yarns. And I've been sitting there, I watched Succession now. I'm into about the episode 6 now. I watched about 5 yesterday. And I don't know why I pulled that amount of yarn out. I've got that far to go. So yeah, I was watching that, making my swatches last night. So that when I want to do some videos, like some swatch ones, I've got some made. But I do need to get Tyler's blanket done, ready for his birthday. Nearly there. Last stitch. Yay. Right. Where's my scissors? Been looking for these. Little did I know they were in that box. I kept thinking, where have you put them? What bag are they in? But they weren't. It's where I did this last. So now I'm on the colour. Bear with me a minute. Just got to take care of the white. When you get a ball like this, so you've finished your project and you've got this much left over, what do you do with it? Do you just do this and then leave it and then use it for a project where you've got something small? Do you cake it up? What do you do with it? I used to make, like, put it all into a scrap yarn project, like make a big, like, granny square blanket, that sort of thing, but I do nothing now. Just absolutely nothing. Right, so I want to start on a different corner. That sounds like a cue for a song. And got to find my centre one. There you go. I don't know what this is going to look like, because when I do this usually, I do it with a yarn that stripes and changes quickly, like when I did the circle in the sand blanket on the square. That one really does change quickly, or that really bright poundland yarn, self-striped streamers. But this one's a slow change, so it's going to be different. Victoria! Oh yeah, no, Harley wants a blanket as well. He wants a creeper or something. Crocheting a poncho with the last of the twist and shout. Also knitting a tiny Aran sweater for your friend's teddy bear business. That sounds cute. You wrap it around a toilet paper roll. You're making change purses and puppy toys. Sounds interesting. You'll have to show them to me on Facebook if you're on Facebook. So I'm just going to go around and do one row. I could do some kind of fancy crab stitch, but I'm just going to go for a row. Just a whole row of this. God, it's been so long since I've used this yarn. Been ages. So nice to work with. Feels lovely. You know, sometimes a yarn just feels good when you work with it and it never splits, and that's what this is like. I've been quite surprised lately with some of the yarns I've worked with, how much splitting's going on. And you know, it's not like the hook's fault. It's always a decent hook. There we go. So it's quite a long colour change, but never mind, should be fine. I don't suppose I'll get it done today, but I'll get it nearly done. Depends when. I'm getting really hungry, and so I suppose it depends when Gary gets out the bath and decides he wants food. I really love it. It's actually not too bad, because that's the green, so it's gone up to there, and then it's starting to become kind of orangey. It is very slow change. Very pretty. You have a new... Is that a puppy? You have a new puppy? What have you got? Wow. You know, when Mike and Gemma lived with us and they brought a dog, well, what it was, that while they were with me before, they were, oh, Gemma wants a dog, Gemma, and I'm like, no, I don't want a dog in the house, no. And then they moved out and they got a place of their own, and they got a big giant poodle. They had it from a pup, and he was never trained and he was very naughty. And then they moved back in with me, but of course they got the dog. So it was they came back with it. And as much as he was naughty and as crazy and loopy as, you know, just a nightmare, I really did like that dog. It's a nightmare, totally. I used to do things like steal because I was on a low carb diet, and I'd buy chicken, and I'd get a cooked chicken from the supermarket. Not the most healthy thing, I know, but he would find it and he would eat it. And the first times I did it, I'd left it on the worktop in the paper bag, you know, like you get the greaseproof paper bag, and he'd nick it and he'd go underneath the conifer trees and eat it, and he'd eat the bones and everything. And so after that, I thought, no, I'll cut it up into quarters, and I'll put it in a Pyrex dish with a, you know, you can get them with a plastic sealable lid, like a Tupperware lid. And he just nose that off the counter until it's smashed on the floor. He'd grab the chicken and run under the conifer trees and eat it. I've lost count how many of my chickens that dog managed to run away with. Definitely orange now. It's an absolute nightmare. I mean, you know, never come a cropper with the bones either. They always say, oh, you know, you mustn't give animals cooked bones, but I don't know, he had a cast iron constitution, that dog. He was a maniac. If only that he'd been to training, he would have been ideal, I suppose. I don't know. Scatty. Absolutely scatty. Crazy dog. A golden retriever Aussie shepherd, black and grey. Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds lovely. He's 9 weeks old and he won't stop eating pebbles. Mike used to eat pebbles when he was a baby. Used to put them in his mouth, thinking they were sweets. He didn't care if they had mud on them. You know, they were just all in there. Paul wouldn't put anything in his mouth as a baby. Nothing at all. Not even teething stuff. Wasn't interested. But Mike, everything went in his mouth. Spiders, you know, whatever he could get his hands on, straight in. They say that's how they learn, but he didn't seem to. Didn't seem to learn anything. Other than don't eat stones with mud on. So yeah, looks alright. Quite pretty. Whoa. So yeah, when the other day Gary and I were talking and said about, you know, there was, what sparked it off was there was a news bulletin about how everybody back in lockdown time, you know, the time of the pandemic, went and got the latest kind of designer dog that was all the rage, which was the cockapoo. So a Cocker Spaniel Poodle cross. And they were the in dog, and everybody was paying up to like 1,300 quid for a dog. And now the actual RSPCA and dogs homes are full of cockapoos that people have abandoned and asked, you know, them to be taken away. And so I thought, you know, you can easily get hold of a rescue cockapoo, but not one of them have had any training, and they're all as scatty as the poodle ever was. So, you know, it'd be a nightmare dog. But I did think, I actually did quite like Negan. That was his name, Negan. It was so well named because he was a little monster, an absolute monster. But he used to give me such lovely cuddles. I'd be sitting in the garden and he'd come up and he was just all poodly, you know, that poodle fur, all little tight curls. And of course, hypoallergenic dog, like alpacas are hypoallergenic, so I wasn't allergic to him. And that's very rare that I, you know, don't get allergic to a dog. Even Jack Russells, which are supposed to be, because they're short hair, you don't get allergic. I do. It's a doggy dust. But with poodles, I don't get any. You roll all leftover yarn into one big ball. It's huge now, bigger than a basketball. You know, like you know, some people do yarn elastic band balls, don't they? You've got a giant leftover yarn ball. What do you do with it? Just keep going. Turn it into a stool, couldn't you? I used to like things like that. You know, when you have a sweet and it's got silver paper around it, or like if you buy Quality Street, they've got really lovely coloured foil around them. I don't mean the ones that you can't fold, like cellophane ones. I mean real tin foily type ones. I used to roll them into a perfect little ball and put them in a bottle with a lid on. And so it was just all these shiny little balls of shiny paper all rolled up. My mum got me onto that when I was little. Rot my teeth though. It's her fault, encouraging me to save the paper. Gary is having a shave. I don't know if you can hear the noises. That's what that squelch, squelch, squelch is every now and then. That noise. Waggling his razor in the water. So now we're getting kind of the orangey pink. It's ready to change colour. It's quite bright orange. Just so nice, this yarn. Really lovely to work with. So if you want any, there is only one yarn bundle at the moment because I don't buy it anymore. So it's only what I've got and what I am prepared to part with. But it's getting that yummy colour now, kind of pink. Which reminds me of candy, like, you know, like starburst opal fruits as we used to call them. Should make a tiny sweater to practice for a big one. Yeah, I always think that. It's quite a cute idea, isn't it? Everybody's going to be making big yarn balls now. See how big they can get them. Like a giant snowball of yarn. So what is everybody watching? Any decent shows? Succession's not bad. I only started it yesterday and I'm up to episode 6. I kind of had I think it might have been Sunday actually, I watched one. And while I was kind of drinking my early morning tea, thought let's give this a quick look at, see if it's any good. And it just reminded me, not exactly, but it reminded me of the kind of idea behind Dallas, you know, of the family that are so money orientated and that. So yeah, got into it last night, watched about 6. Pretty now. Yeah, I definitely like the way I've always done borders like this, so I definitely like that. Sort of really sets it off, I think. Just going round with like one row of colour at the end, rather than doing a fancy border. You can just, looks quite nice. But I'm always up for new shows. Gary and I are plugging away with Dexter. Finally managed to get him to watch it, and he realised it's not that bad and he really likes it. I tried to use a regular sock pattern for a 4-weight yarn and a huge hook, and it didn't work well. It would have been like a Christmas stocking. Thank you, Charlie. It is lovely. I don't know what to do with it when I'm done, whether I put it in the car. Just seems a bit of a waste to have it in the car. Just turning my corner. Yeah, I think it would be a bit wasted then, but I think it'd be nice for the decking, so that, you know, when you're sitting outside and then the sun goes down and it gets a bit cool. Might be nice to have over my knees or something. And then you get the beauty of it and you get quite a bit of use out of it. You will in this neck of the woods with the sea breeze. Oopsie, hang on. There we go. Turn the corner, nice and pink. Weirdly, it's called bright pink, this yarn, even though it's got all these different colours in it. Doesn't make any sense really, just to pick on pink when it's got orange and kind of turquoise blue. Do you call it turquoise blue or do you call it turquoise green? Because there's that debate, isn't it? I mean, now it's teal or cyan, but is it a blue or is it a green or is it just somewhere in between? I always say turquoise blue, but people say, oh, it's green. Turquoise green. It's turquoise blue, but I guess it's neither, is it? Somewhere in between. There we go. Gary's getting dressed now. Goodness gracious, I should put the food in the oven, shouldn't I? Starving. It is quite late, to be honest with you. We would have normally eaten long ago. So I might call that it. Just do a couple more, get to that corner, well not that corner, but that little edge there. And then I'll do it again another day. Finish it off on the next sitting. I think that would be a good idea. And go and put the oven on, which will make the house a bit warmer, although the aircon's on, so it should be quite cold. Something is tickling me. When it first tickled me, I thought that better not be a creepy crawly, but I think it's just my hair. Anyway, right, pull out a big loop. There we go, looking nice, very fetching. Be finished on the next go, then I'll be looking for more whips. Anyway, thanks for coming and spending some time with me. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do it with this before it starts to be a bit ooh. So hopefully I'll get this blanket done before that. Well, and also try and do some live streaming over on Rocksteady. So if you haven't already subscribed to Rocksteady, my little thingy that I'm doing is on that channel. Plus, I need some watch hours over there, big time. So if anyone can help me out, there is a playlist called All My Videos, which, you know, would really help me. So thanks for watching and stay safe. I'll see you soon on the next one. Hopefully we'll get it done. Bye for now.